Members of the platform party, I would like to ask you to recognize the representatives of our distinguished faculty who are with us today. Will our faculty members please stand? We are honored to have with us members of the Board of Trustees of Purdue University. I request they stand as I call their names and remain standing, and that you hold your applause until all have been introduced. Thomas E. Spurgeon, Vice Chairman from Peoria, Illinois. Joanne Briette of West Lafayette. John D. Hardin Jr. of Danville. Miranda McCormick of Fowler. Please join me in greeting our trustees. We're pleased to have with us also, representing the Purdue University Administration, Timothy Sands, Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost. Richard Bacchius, Vice President for Research. Melissa Exum, Vice President for Student Affairs. Jerry McCartney, Vice President for Information Technology and Chief Information Officer. Beverly Seifer, Vice Provost for Faculty Affairs. Terry Lucy Thompson, Vice President for Marketing and Media. Dale Whitaker, Vice Provost for Undergraduate Academic Affairs. Jay Ackridge, Dean, College of Agriculture. Christopher Early, Dean, School of Management. Jeffrey Roberts, Dean, College of Science. Dennis Minchella, Associate Dean, College of Science. Robert Mate, Associate Dean of Students. Robert Kubat, University Registrar and Chair of these commencement exercises. Morris Levy, Chair of the University Senate and Grand Marshal. Will you join me in greeting these individuals? We're pleased to have with us on the platform other important members of the university family. Clint Chappell, Department Head, Biochemistry. Mary Harris Dieter, Chairman, Purdue Alumni Association. Linda Osborne, Teleprompter. Lee Hardy and Michael Piggott, Public Orators. Tracy Stack and Myron Yoder, Sign Language Interpreters. Will you join me in greeting and thanking these individuals? Congratulations, Boilermakers. Through all-night study sessions and lengthy term papers, cold pizza, and even colder walks to winter classes, you've done it. Let's have a round of applause for yourselves. Your path to this stage began long before you set foot on this campus. It began with a loving family, supportive friends, and inspirational teachers. This day and your degree are their reasons to celebrate too. So please turn to them and wave and give them an enthusiastic and appreciative thank you. This is my 5th year at Purdue. By the time this weekend is over, I will have personally welcomed 33,000 Purdue graduates on this stage. The class of 2012 will be remembered as a class of difference makers, a class of leaders who helped move Purdue forward. Over the last 4 years, you continued the Purdue tradition of problem solving that began with generations of Boilermakers who preceded you. Consider the students from the class of 1912 who received their degrees 100 years ago. Back then, there was no central place for students to gather that was large enough to provide meaningful opportunities for student development. Purdue lacked a spacious facility designed to enrich student life outside the classroom. One student, George O. Hayes, from that class of 1912, proposed a solution: a Purdue Student Union. The student government quickly endorsed his idea, and before long, the student body launched a fundraising drive. Following World War I, the push for a union merged with the desire to memorialize Purdue's fallen service members. And in 1924, the Purdue Memorial Union was born. Today, its stained glass windows still symbolize the mixing of races and creeds. Its black and gold cross still honors Boilermakers who fought and died in our nation's wars and conflicts. Yet over the years, it's changed. It's accreted a post office, a union, food courts, entertainment areas, a hotel, an art gallery, financial services, and tourist attractions like a scale model of the entire university. At the Union, you can rub Abe Lincoln's bronze nose for good luck, eat at Pappy's ice cream shop, bowl at a glow-in-the-dark bowling alley, and plan a wedding, perhaps your own. At election time, you can vote there. The building has grown and adapted throughout the changing years and needs. Like the class of 1912, you have identified needs of students today, envisioned solutions, and worked to make them a reality. With your peers from other classes, you communicated the threat of alcohol poisoning and successfully lobbied this year our legislature to embrace the Indiana Lifeline Law. Through studies abroad and international research, you've responded to global needs in a flat world. You're already making your mark on the global world with your work in Haiti, Ethiopia, the Cameroon and Kenya, Japan, Colombia, and the Middle East. You've done groundbreaking research in new fields of discovery and have business plans and patents and publications to show for it. You've also made an impact on the physical campus. The class of 2012 initiated a student success corridor, which will include a much renovated recreational center for fitness and wellness, the Center for Student Excellence and Leadership, which is being built by students and for students. As noted by your fellow graduate and past student trustee Tyler Takel, this center, quote, will be a place all students will call home. It will be the epitome of the Purdue student experience. Engagement, involvement, academics, learning, and collaboration will all take place in this building. He said, "You can only imagine the new synergies and achievements that will take place once this building brings people together. The new ideas and successes that will flow over and out of this beaker." Along the Student Success Corridor, there will be a new building for interdisciplinary student projects, a new classroom, and a new library building. Because of you, the Bailey Hall for the Purdue music organizations will be a reality soon. You've done all of this, students, and more. The class of 2012 would make the class of 1912 proud. You continue their traditions, and you've made ones of your own. I thought long and hard about what I would leave with you on this, my own commencement weekend at Purdue. I, like you, will be moving on to the next chapter of my life. I, too, am a member of the class of 2012. I listened to a few YouTube commencement speeches, get inspired, see how others have captured this important moment of transition. And I realized quickly that the most popular commencement speeches are, can you guess, by comedians, like Stephen Colbert, Jon Stewart, Will Ferrell at Harvard, and Ellen DeGeneres. It helps to take the world less seriously, at least for a few moments, on such a solemn occasion, and then to reflect on the lessons learned. The other widely listened to speech is that of Steve Jobs, who transformed the world with his marketing and design. Many of you have some of that in your pocket right now. I do, and it's on mute. What are common among these well-known and much appreciated icons are three things. First, they admittedly graduated from the school of hard knocks, learned how to fall and how to pick themselves up. Take Steve Jobs, who was fired from the company he started. He said, "I'd been rejected, but I was still in love. This freed me to enter one of the most creative periods of my life." Second, they did something no one else has done by finding a way to express their passion uniquely, guided by instinct and driven by an inner zeal. Take the humorists Stephen Colbert and Jon Stewart, who have challenged audiences to think with an uncommon twist on the daily news. And third, they approached the world with a sense of wonder and gratitude. Take any of you, take a business major, someone who becomes a young CEO or the head of a startup company. Take someone who goes into agriculture. Take a scientist. Boilermakers, my advice is to embrace what lies before you with energy and confidence. Pick yourself up when you fall. Rely on your friends for support. Imagine and invent your own path. Wherever you are on this great planet, you will find your way home. You'll always be a Boilermaker. Stay connected and return often. Congratulations, class of 2012. Boiler up and hail Purdue. Thank you. I now ask the public orator, Mr. Michael Pigott, to announce the names of the honorary degree candidates to be recognized today and to recite the record of their accomplishments.
As we recognize our distinguished honorees this afternoon, I encourage you to read more about their lives and accomplishments in the complete biographical narrative in your commencement program. Jeffrey T. Roberts, Dean of the College of Science, will now escort France A. Cordova to the rostrum for the awarding of the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa. Dr. France A. Cordova has distinguished herself as a world-renowned scientist, educator, and administrator. She is the 11th president of Purdue University and the first woman to hold that position. Dr. Cordova holds a bachelor's degree in English from Stanford University and a PhD in physics from the California Institute of Technology. Before coming to Purdue, Dr. Cordova was chancellor and distinguished professor of physics and astronomy at UC Riverside. From 1996 to 2002, she was professor of physics and vice chancellor for research at UC Santa Barbara. She was the youngest and the first woman chief scientist at NASA, where she served from 1993 to 1996. Dr. Cordova's scientific contributions have been in observational and experimental astrophysics. She is serving a 6-year presidential appointment to the National Science Board. She was appointed a citizen member of the Smithsonian Institution's Board of Regents in 2009, and then in January 2012 was elected chair for a 3-year term. Dr. Cordova lends her expertise to several national boards and is the recipient of numerous awards and honors. Her Purdue presidency has been distinguished by a commitment to enhancing the student experience, expanding global partnerships, and improving research funding. Her successful leadership in these areas has resulted in the increased value of a Purdue degree from around the world. For her distinguished record of accomplishments in astrophysics and higher education administration, Dr. France A. Cordova is presented for the awarding of academic honors by Purdue University.
Greetings, distinguished colleague. Upon the nomination of the faculty and by authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Purdue University, I now confer upon you, France A. Cordova, the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa, with all of the rights, privileges, duties, and responsibilities of that degree. As evidence of the highest honor the university can bestow, you will now be vested with the hood. And receive an appropriately inscribed diploma.
Thank you, Purdue. I am honored.
J.T. Ackridge, Dean of the College of Agriculture, will now escort Robert M. Book to the rostrum for the awarding of the degree of Doctor of Agriculture honoris causa. Mr. Robert M. Book is a leader in the field of agricultural marketing, with a career spanning over 60 years in the industry. He is president of AgriVista Incorporated. Mr. Book received his bachelor's degree in animal science from Purdue in 1952 and earned an MBA from Indiana University. He completed the senior executive program at Columbia University. While in college, Mr. Book joined the Marine Corps Reserve and went on active duty upon graduation. He retired in 1983 with the rank of colonel. He joined AgriVista as president in 1993. He was also the first president of the Indiana Institute of Agriculture, Food, and Nutrition, and was a driving force behind Elanco Products Company, where he retired as Group Vice President of Agricultural Marketing in 1983. Mr. Book spent 35 years in active and reserve service in the United States Marine Corps. Mr. Book is recognized nationally and internationally as an authority on agricultural and animal agriculture marketing. He serves on several boards and has been active in local politics in Hamilton County, Indiana, for more than 30 years. He co-founded the Book Harmon Leadership Program in Animal Science at Purdue to promote leadership in animal agriculture. His service in the industry and in his community has led to numerous awards and honors. For his distinguished record of accomplishment in multiple areas of the animal agriculture field, Robert M. Book is presented for the awarding of academic honors by Purdue University.
Greetings, distinguished colleague. Upon the nomination of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Purdue University, I now confer upon you, Robert M. Book, the degree of Doctor of Agriculture, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, duties, and responsibilities of that degree. As evidence of the highest honor the university can bestow, you will now be vested with the hood. And receive an appropriately inscribed diploma. Congratulations.
P. Christopher Early, Dean of the School of Management, will now escort Beth A. Brook to the rostrum for the awarding of the degree of Doctor of Management honoris causa. Ms. Beth A. Brook is a leader in public policy, an advocate for the advancement of women, and an expert in global capital markets. She is Global Vice Chair for Public Policy at Ernst & Young. Ms. Brook earned a bachelor's degree with highest distinction in industrial management and computer science from Purdue University. During her time at Purdue, she played intercollegiate women's basketball. At Ernst & Young, she has public policy responsibility for the firm's operations in 140 countries. During the Clinton administration, Ms. Brook worked for 2 years in the U.S. Department of the Treasury. She is an advocate for the advancement of women, serving on the U.S. delegation to the 53rd and 54th United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. She serves on numerous national and international boards and was most recently asked by Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to serve on the International Council on Women's Business Leadership. Ms. Brook has been named 4 times to the Forbes list of the world's 100 most powerful women and is the recipient of numerous honors for her leadership. She speaks regularly at forums around the world on topics ranging from leadership in the 21st century, the role of business in society, and global capital markets. For her distinguished record of accomplishments in the public policy area and her contributions to women in leadership, Beth A. Brook is presented for the awarding of academic honors by Purdue University.
Greetings, distinguished colleague. Upon the nomination of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Purdue University, I now confer upon you, Beth A. Brook, the degree of Doctor of Management, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, duties, and responsibilities of that degree. As evidence of the highest honor the university can bestow, you will now be vested with the hood. And receive an appropriately inscribed diploma.
Jeffrey T. Roberts, Dean of the College of Science, will now escort Manju Sharma to the rostrum for the awarding of the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa. Dr. Manju Sharma is a renowned leader in promoting bioscience and technology in India and around the world. She is a former secretary of the Department of Biotechnology of India and current president and executive director of the Indian Institute of Advanced Research. Dr. Sharma received a master's degree in science from India's Lucknow University with a gold medal and performed postdoctoral research at Purdue. Since 1974, she has held various positions in the Indian government, including in the Department of Science and Technology, the Planning Commission, the Office of Scientific Advisor to the Prime Minister, and the Department of Biotechnology. She has played a significant role in promoting science, technology, and biosciences. Throughout her career, Dr. Sharma has initiated and promoted many successful programs, including biomass production and conversion, biofertilizers, transgenic research in crops, germplasm conservation, medicinal and aromatic plants, food biotechnology, diagnostics, and human genetics. Dr. Sharma has lent her expertise to numerous boards and received several honors and awards for her work. She was the first female president of the National Academy of Sciences in India. She holds a lifelong passion for inspiring young people, and especially women, with an interest in science. For her distinguished record of accomplishments in the biosciences and technology fields, Manju Sharma is presented for the awarding of academic honors by Purdue University.
Greetings, distinguished colleague. Upon the nomination of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Purdue University, I now confer upon you, Manju Sharma, the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, duties, and responsibilities of that degree. As evidence of the highest honor the university can bestow, you will now be vested with the hood. And receive an appropriately inscribed diploma. Congratulations.
Dean Roberts will now escort Eiichi Negishi to the rostrum for the awarding of the degree of Doctor of Science, honoris causa. Dr. Eiichi Negishi is the 2010 Nobel laureate in chemistry and a pioneer in developing metal-based reactions called palladium-catalyzed cross-coupling. His discoveries have a wide range of uses in medicine, agriculture, and electronics. Dr. Negishi grew up in Japan and received his bachelor's degree from the University of Tokyo in 1958. After he obtained his PhD degree from the University of Pennsylvania in 1963, he became a postdoctoral associate at Purdue in 1966. Dr. Negishi joined the faculty of Syracuse University as assistant professor in 1972 and was promoted to associate professor in 1976. He returned to Purdue University as full professor in 1979. Dr. Negishi's lifelong investigation of transition metal-catalyzed organometallic reactions for organic synthesis led to his 2010 Nobel Prize in Chemistry. The prize was bestowed primarily on the strength of 10 seminal papers he published from 1976 to 1978. In addition to the Nobel, Dr. Negishi has received numerous awards for his field-defining research. In 2011, Purdue announced the establishment of the Negishi-Brown Institute. The institute will support basic research in catalytic organometallic chemistry through graduate and postdoctoral fellowships, workshops, and symposia, and by establishing new relationships with industrial partners. Dr. Negishi is the center's inaugural director. For his distinguished record of accomplishments in chemistry, Eiichi Negishi is presented for the awarding of academic honors by Purdue University.
Greetings, distinguished colleague. Upon the nomination of the faculty and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Purdue University, I now confer upon you, H. Negishi, the degree of Doctor of Science honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, duties, and responsibilities of that degree. As evidence of the highest honor the university can bestow, you will now be vested with the hood. It is my privilege and real honor to award you an appropriately inscribed diploma, Dr. Negishi. Dr. Negishi, would you like to say a few words? I've asked Professor Negishi to say just a few words to you all because it's not every day that you get to hear from your organic chemistry teacher, right? And Purdue's Nobel Prize winner in chemistry. I present you Dr. H. Negishi.
Thank you. Yes. Well, congratulations. I can share your sense of excitement by recalling my own experience of a little more than half a century ago, 1958. Looking back, I was very happy to receive a bachelor's degree from the University of Tokyo, as indicated earlier. But was I full of confidence then? No. Yes, perhaps with more anxiety than confidence, primarily because I did not study as much as I should have, or as well as I could. It may sound familiar to many of you, but don't worry. Perhaps this is one of the reasons why this event is called commencement ceremony. What a wonderful expression, which I like very much. I also like a French word, repêchage. You know this. You know, you're not out by getting defeated once. Go for repêchage if necessary, or two, as needed and allowed, before you reach perhaps 30, perhaps 35, or perhaps even a little beyond. But let's not forget about our bio clock, though. We all have a bio clock. Shortly after I went to Syracuse University as assistant professor, at the age 37. It's a little slow start. One of the seminar speakers there said, one should try to come up with her life work by 40 to 45. Professor Brown, born in 1912, discovered his Nobel Prize winning. My professor also won the Nobel Prize. I'm the second one, second generation. Some of you may be the third and fourth. When he was 44, Nobel Prize winning reaction, hydroboration, 1956 minus 1912, 44, very close to the limit. When I heard this lecture, I was already 38, without having anything notable to show. I was just a beginner, assistant professor. But indeed, this lecture sent me a serious message, or more like a warning or a last call. Luckily, I did come up with my own Nobel Prize-winning palladium catalyzed cross-coupling as announced in 1976. I was 41. The statistical chance of winning a Nobel Prize is roughly 1 in 10 million. 1 in 10 million. 1 over 10 to the 7th. For all or any of us here at Purdue, we should and we do have a multiple number of professors whose chance should be 1 in single-digit figure, or maybe 1 in 10, or at least in 1 in 100, a whole bunch of them. At this very moment, there are a fair number of you who are already in 1 in 10 to the third, 1 in 1,000 kind of intellects. I'm sure there are many of them. Okay, I can guarantee that. Okay. But even so, then you have a statistical chance, probability of winning a Nobel, 1 in 10,000, 1 in 10 to the 4th. But if you are one of them, go for it, okay? By all means. After all, nothing may be reached unless you dream about it and keep trying with eternal optimism. Go for it. Thank you.